tend to smile a little. I can't feel it either. The transformation of Hong Fu Than Van. I keep saying that, thank you. Tongue opposite herbal medicine single player. Look at her laughing. I'm a little stupid, of course. And that thought of the king's office did not look out. It was a long dance in her hands. Suddenly at this moment, he clapped a table. The direction people claim. Then point your hand outside the door. Then don't bring this table. But even if you say that, it should not be empty. Where are the two at the door? Have a drink with us. I am sure that my husband and I are ready to go back to the room. Suddenly I heard the sound of the wind. Screaming at them. Not at the same time surprised. I don't know what to do. Adorable 141 bareback too. Just in time from the herd. I don't know how. Probably most people laughed out loud. At the same time, he stepped into the hall. Not a little fear. Very quickly the two went inside. Hong Fu and Van looked at the two people laughing loudly. They are a very good pair of jewels. Can you two introduce yourselves? I can hear you urgently. Bow in haste to meet Don. Students of the HOA long-term form of consultation to princes. The most common I lift reluctantly said. The third-class family into the Jade Ball. The Holy Father heard this word. Eyebrows furrowed. In his eyes flashed a TIA who did not understand the third-class family. Missing family BA. You can be the owner of a long dance. It's also rare. To please sit down. He just finished. Probably the most immediately amazing. When did he become the son-in-law of a long time ago? And even more so with this arrogant head. Who's next? But Don Pepper can hear red-face shy. A shy young woman figure. But I didn't wait for the worst to explain. He stood up urgently to speak. The stripe is not. This position is for the sword. Can you let the two of them sit? The cleaning form on one side also voiced the auxiliary. That's right, guys. The two of them are still unqualified. End words. She looked at the two most likely people. Don't even move back down to my side. Don't wait for two people to move. Hong Fu and Van has spoken out to prevent. The tone of his face was. I agreed. I have not left the sword servant's table. Would you allow me to invite these two guests? Come sit down again. You don't respect my face too much. In the interim, the base tends to tremble with fear. Stand still without moving. The best part is that one side can understand everything. Table of sword servant, let the son of a third-class family. And the students dance here for a long time. He's obviously slapping his sword in the face. He did this deliberately to humiliate the sword servant. Another side, he wanted to distinguish which countries could be conquered. And the worlds can't be conquered. The heart of the emperor is also great. They want to unite the 7 countries. Why certain, we need to find an elder candidate quickly. Let's raise the power of the new family. Buy 7 families as one. That's a big monster. Even 7 has to be careful. He thought and sat calmly at the table. In front of everyone's surprise. It's a family of 3. Can be so extravagant to this extent. Long Nine saw that immediately cold. He warned the boy to sit in a position where he should not sit. Be careful, it will hurt your body. But most probably I didn't notice. Smiling towards Long Nine arrogantly said Nine family. People say be careful. There is genocide. He just finished. Everyone has a scary time again. This guy's liver is big. Dare to threaten Long Nine of your potential. This horror is not over yet. They continued to see Long Nine crouching. Celebrate with the opposite person, a form of bow glass as above. Thanks for the reminder. Even Dragon Master and Dragon kneeling behind, he was also amazed at this act. They've never seen Long Nine sutras with someone else, except for the potential elders. But right now, he revered the prince of a third-class family. Nobody could have expected this. That Hong Fu Than Van sits above. Look down at Long Nine, and be sure. He didn't expect it 1,000 times. The 9 elders of Zilong are afraid. Against the threat of an unknown boy. He looked to the surest side. The world never ceases to doubt. This guy is just a kid from a third-rate family. But dared to speak madly to the potential elder. Long is the first strange thing. Another strange thing is that Long Nine heard this word and was afraid. And look at the two of you. There's still a feeling I can't explain. I can't understand. To ignore everyone's astonishment, I can't help but look at Long Nine. That nods. The devil jumped out of joy. When you see why. Connected to the last action. Long Nine recognized it. Name 9 family. This is how you call Cho Long Nine. And first meeting. You can even use such a haughty tone. It's only me who talks to him. So Long Nine realized that's not surprising. At the right time, people are drowning in their own thoughts. The sky and the sword entered from outside the door. I looked at my table and someone was sitting. Immediately angry laugh out loud. Ho Vu has been very hospitable for a long time. Even a few characters who don't enter the stream. There is also a place to sit. Addicted 140 to M conspiracy isolated. At this moment, the 7 nations are gathered together. However, the situation is a bit unbearable. I want to see heaven and earth angry. Hurry up to the 2 most likely. Who let you sit in this place? Don't even move back down. At this moment, Hong Fu Than Van laughed for an hour. Look at the city. But the idea is blatant. Humiliate the sword so that it will fall. Have you forgotten why? The Lord invited them to sit. A table against no one sitting. Not very wasteful, Sao. Let them sit in. It's better than someone taking over. Without wanting to work. Thank God I heard an angry voice. The sleeves turned and left. If the 2 princes have blinded the servant's sword. We're not here for people to hate. Apple death. This time the sword did not stop him. The face of the sword. I've been humiliated like this. I really shouldn't be here anymore. Also follow the sky. See this situation. The facility tends to be constantly urgent. Though Hong Fu and Van insisted on aiming at the servant's sword. They are not the guests you invited. Let people suffer. Even more so with the current state of the dance. You can't be guilty of any power. In 7 countries. And then she spoke urgently. Thank you, please stop. This time it was arranged by the long HOA. Please forgive. I will arrange another table for you. Apologize in front of you. Hearing this word, the sky couldn't help but stop. Logically speaking, it is the total owner. He humbly accepted the blame. Moreover, people are women. He should have given people a face. But look at the old lady sitting there. He still can't help but decide to leave. At the same time, it is also a reminder of the city. Long office owner, if you had the king as your rock, you have to lower yourself. Sorry, Master Sword. We can't accept it at all. To hear this, I bow my head and sigh. On a face full of sadness. The meaning of ridicule, in the words of the Celestial. Why you may not understand. But right now she is praying next to the king. Cannot be guilty of Hong Fu Than Van. If it continues like this, the long dance will surely be isolated. Long Nine smell one side collect all into the eyes. Shaking his head 7 times. The owner can't be in her own place. Protect your face for the guests you invite. Maybe someone will support her later. Hong Fu Than Van sits on the main electric chair. See this scene. Smile with satisfaction. I glanced at the serious one. But seriously feel. Look at the eyes of the Hong Fu. She also nodded to understand. Face exposed, animated. This one scene was most certainly caught. They also know what they want to do. This is the next cockroach that wants to isolate the flower for a long time. The dance is long gone. Next, it's the nations that don't do what he says. It is the sword and the dragon. It's time for the 7 families to unite. Lost people will not be able to show up anymore. Thinking of this, my eyes suddenly screamed. Thank you, brother. There's a space here that we can take seriously. Mr. Chun, how about joining us? Hear this word. The sky doesn't turn its head. 3rd-class families also want to sit at a table with him. I dare to call you to him. The other also horns Sao. This long dance is too much. Let a 3rd-rate family boy shout. Call small with him. Most likely, he didn't turn his head. Touch your nose. Sighing out loud, a voice of cowardice. You are so afraid to sit at the table with your husband. This 1 hour, it amazes everyone at the same time. That Hong Fu Than Van also bewildered. Stunned people can't react. This kid is not crazy. Stop using potential threats. He continues to call the sword master. Is a coward. Not that he's not afraid of death. At the same time, the 3 people who danced for a long time also sighed. 9 elders who do not reach out may be due to bad shoulders. But left Jian Yang is a passionate young man. He insulted him in front of everyone. It can be ignored. Even if you kill at the peace for a long time. They have nothing to say either. I'm not angry right now. I really want to fight a fight. Thank heaven that has not yet spoken. Sword depending on the wind has led to emitting gas long position owner. Even if the flower has a long base, it cannot be. That's too much. I really don't care what my sword is. They are in a hurry to put on their hands. 8 the elders were less angry. This is all a misunderstanding. This kid is fast talking. I'll give you an explanation. Already said. She looked angrily at the surest side of the world. I can't even get rid of you. Most likely, she didn't even notice what she heard. Smiling at the body of the sky. Slowly moving forward. Why? Tend to see this scene. Rush to stop. Please be less angry. He's just a kid. I hope you don't compare with him. The sky is not speaking right now. When people thought he was going to get angry. But to the worst. But, people just see. Chun Yang slowly held the glass of wine on the empty drinking table. Then laughed for 2 hours and praised the wine. Most likely, give him another drink. Of course. The wine of whole long dance is brewed by young women. Of course there's a taste. If you were a brother, just sit down and have a drink with me. This one action. Make sure everyone is present at the event. Petrification Hall. They didn't even dream that this would happen. Thank God is a young man. The arrogance of the sword servant. Standing in front of Hong Fu Than Van. It's also the language of arrogance. But now people are scolded and do not notice. With him at a wine table. Like a brother I haven't seen in a long time. The police also turned their hands back. She really didn't think. What is the background of this boy whom she saved? Long 9 of the potential long the respect Y face now. Even the sword doesn't count. The extravagance of Y. It's amazing to see this scene. When will this boy change his mind? I was not angry to leave. Why is that now? He was suspicious or asked the sky. Since when did you change your mind? The sky didn't notice either. Put your hands on your shoulders. Towards the sword, laughing. The 8 elders sat down. Sitting with this brother doesn't lose face. But where people don't pay attention. The ring on the celestial arm. Softly emitting light. That the sky can see. Let's see if he's right. The person in front of you. Of course, it's his oldest brother. Just have fun sitting next to me. To everyone's amazement. Except 143 hatred. Hong Fu Than Van sitting above. I am not satisfied to see the scene. Gritted teeth and said thank heaven and Yang. Not, you can't sit with this loose young man. Why now? Thank heaven Yang laughed softly out in different voice with arms. Thank heaven Yang, we can't really sit at the same table. With some people. I met this guy for the first time. I'm used to not calculating anymore. He said, again raising his glass to the best. Laughing like a familiar friend. Look at this scene. Finally the room tends to calm down again. Take a breath of relief. The eyes look towards the strongest. I can't help but bring my gratitude. Probably the most visible. Meet her eyes, gently raise your eyebrows. But the king saw it. I thought you two were looking at love. Immediately angry. In my cold eyes a voice of contentment. It's not too easy to be confused. Do not understand the meaning of Hong Fu Than Van. You think he wants to make it hard. Speak up for advice. Tell Than Van. This time to borrow the opportunity of this big meeting. It's hard. He called the people of 7 to testify. Don't make it hard for the prince anymore. Hong Fu Than Van in his eyes flashed crystal light. Take a deep breath. Let's just say I made it hard for him. I came because of you anyway. Go ahead, by the way. People from 7 countries are here. Then deal with it thoroughly. Hoa's work is long and medicinal. Hear this word. The city was immediately delighted to come. But Long Dance. She doesn't have to be afraid either. Controlled by the poison of the Sirius. Unfortunately, she didn't think of it at all. Serious right now. She is also waiting for an indictment. There's a plot behind it waiting for her to come in. I thought, suddenly clapped her hands. When everyone looks at her, she said casually, take advantage of the opportunity to gather today. There's one thing I want everyone to testify about. It is your honor and Long Dance. We should be finished today. I seriously listened to her accusation. There is no fear. Shaking his head laughing. What do you have for a long time, old man and flower? Maybe it's because I wasn't invited to Sao. And I'm going to blink my eyes gently. He said, don't fake it. There are elders here today. And the 2 princes of the emperor watched. I won't let you make excuses. If you don't deliver the antidote. Chief out here, don't he leave this place alive today. She just finished. Ty Bar and HOA form together stand up. Release gas potential. Everyone who sees this looks at each other in silence. But one AI spoke up to prevent. The grace of Ho Long, and the king of medicine. They don't want to participate either. Moreover, the Long Dance has the king's back. So neither side can be guilty. Hong Futh and Van looked at the serious tongue. Laughed a serious elder. If you really poison the disciples of Ho Long, don't be afraid to deliver. To avoid chipping the feelings of the 2 worlds. Seriously hear this word. The evil eyes stared at the city. The 2 men are right. But this antidote can't deliver raw. He became angry and shouted for an hour. You are very brave. Even the king does not respect his face. Do you want me to go to your place? Are you willing to? But Hong Futh and Van was in a hurry to put on his hands. I advise you to do 1,000 things. What to do free, as we manage these little things. Last time Kier Long and you Min Cup. It's not about the forest. 50 trees each were beaten by His Majesty. AI doesn't get any benefit, that's all. The rest are always warned. The opposite, it also makes the forest a forbidden area. The people of 7 Ra no one can enter. It seems as if they have their own agenda. What I just said was between the 2. 2 potential leaders Long Sand and Yumin's stupid cup. It is most likely. Can you hear me laughing a little coldly? His mind soon became clear. If the king is determined, he alone rules the 7 worlds. He must hold it in his hand. The 7 worlds. If there's any grudges, they all ran to the emperor. Indictment of this 7 kingdoms of his will not be empty, Sao. That's why he tried to seize power like that. There is this evil. However, they are also not willing to calm down. She said, you're right. But this thief. Let me not wait for the city to continue. Hong Futh and Van has put on his hands. Look at the serious side. Seriously, elder. Not even the nose. You didn't see the king. Or don't watch the movie. Strictly hold the power again. Turned towards the Hongfuth and Van said. The two men misunderstood. Really, the antidote can't be given. No one has been robbed. They give things to thieves. Hongfuth and Van eyebrows furrowed and said Why is it so? The corners of the mouth are slightly squinted. He glanced seriously at the evildoer. Long office owner, surely you have not forgotten that boy. He just finished. The tendency to stand unsteady. The body shakes violently. The whole body in the blink of an eye. Two grips tightly to the right. People see this. At the same time startled. This is the first time they see the city. I can't control myself. The intention to kill is too strong. 140 for accidentally betrayed. See the atmosphere of the department to be serious tongue. Not afraid either. Continue to explain. That year, whole long dance of this little devil. The old man's servant. The old man found him smart. I gave him all my strength. As a result, he stole it. The antidote to the seven vastness. In the end, due to poor self-training. 7 defeat and die. Not long after, the owner was poisoned. You can blame the old man. He just finished. Standing next to me, he also spoke up. Yes, he is considered my brother. He could have inherited his master's 8. Sorry not to be grateful. There is also the self-delusion. Based on your own strength, is that it's possible to practice successfully, eventually harming lives. You can't blame others either. This brother of mine is the only one I admire. Is the gift of knitting. It's too grandiose about dignity. In the end, kindness spoils harm. Long dance. I can only say that I do not know how to measure myself. To teachers and students of the King of Medicine who sings, I blame all the responsibility on the dead. The tendency to become unbearable. Angry shout out loud, shut up. End the words of all three of the long-armed hoe. Pay close attention to the intents. People are horrified to see this. Even though they're all divine beings. But the mood of the three of them flared at the same time. It's a little scary. Moreover, his words are serious. It also makes them uneasy. But the two houses are so deep. About coming to this country, they are not afraid of their spirit. Speak up again. To gentlemen, if this happens in the imperial court. Do you give drugs to a spy or not? I can hear the chatter for a moment. And then it makes sense to speak up. Just say it, everyone is amazed. He's obviously been helping out for so long and so long. But now it's the King of Medicine. The most obvious seems to understand. Smiling, waiting for them to continue. Right now. Chin Tai Bar on the one hand anxiously spoke up urgently. Guys, this is happening for a reason. That year, it's really the King of Medicine who has been dancing with them for a long time. Me first. Seriously, hear this word. No yelling. To keep the 7 AI worlds without any small grudges. That's why, that can send spies to other clans, Sao. Say like you. In Human Cup, they're not all people of potential Saus. Potential long the hiding. All the spies of Human Cup. Words just came out. The people looking for the long and the long dance. People in a moment want to refute, but I can't say a word. The 5 elders Human Cup also nodded in agreement. The words make sense. Even if you have a little grudge, just openly attack. Sending spies to another world. It's really mean. Humiliation of the 7 kingdoms. But maybe the 5 elders of Yu Min Cup have forgotten. Before that, they also sent Yu Ming to the Black Feng Mountain. The snake wants to capture the Dharma. The heirlooms of BA. So Yu Min Cup. I have no right to say these 2 words. At the right time the air is tense. Hong Fu and Van was angry and shouted loudly. That's enough if you and the elders are here. Then the Lord will give. The elders testify. Is it okay to settle or house? Based on the judgment of the 2 men. Hong Fu and Van received the answer. Let's continue to arbitrate. Then the judge. The old man delivered the antidote to the flower for a long time. Not be denied. The dance was to blame first. For justice, strictly, the elders can choose anything. At whole long dance, to compensate. The words just came out. I was not happy to bring the cure back. Immediately the second half of the sentence of Hong Fu and Van. Fight for sanity. Everyone heard the judgment immediately astounded. Probably the most contemptuous smile. The long dance is because you don't want to keep the rice husk for a long time. There is no cure. Otherwise they would have swapped with seriousness a long time ago. The court's judgment is fair. But actually, it's only good for the Pharaoh's court. The 2 of them have been colluding for a long time. This is a trap. I can seriously hear you smiling. Hands clasping ceremony. 2 people judge fairly. Old lady uniform. The old man is no longer welcome. I want to take the route. I tend to hear a lot of noise. Not for long chi. A long dance. I absolutely cannot give it to you. She just finished. Hong Fu and Van was angry, smashing the table into the city. You invited me to judge. Now I have judged you fairly again. Are you kidding me? Hear this word. The city is immediately afraid. He said no, it was wrong of her. She invited him to help her judge. But 1,000 times, she didn't expect him to judge her that way. Now, in addition to fear, it affects the dance for a long time. She also mixed a little 7 emotional hope. How many years have she been playing a painful street? Hong Fu and Van, he didn't come because of his pride. He came because the king borrowed this reason. King of success. To interfere in the dispute of the king of pharmacy and the... No one will dare to dance for long. I can't believe it. They want to rely on the code. Regrettably betrayed by him. I see she still refuses to accept it. Hong Fu and Van sighed. To pretend to be reluctant to say. You've come to this country, don't be stubborn. I do this because it is good for you to dance. Not waiting for the city to speak up. The form next to it is shouting "Oh Eli." If you lose your bodhicitta, what else do we have for a long dance? If you are no longer, what do you have for a long dance? Hong Fu and Van coldly warned. And what he continues to say. It is clear from the judge. You have to follow. If not, the king is angry. Are you slaves? The words just ended the people dancing for a long time, trembling with fear. The merchant king, they really didn't fight back. They're now dangerous on all sides. If you have sinned against the king, the real dance will be no more. Suddenly now. Most likely the world laughed softly. Prince Hongfu. If I had just dropped it right. He said that he would judge the elders. You have finished judging. Should it be now? Let the elders see it, right? 145 A muscle line. According to the incoming sound, everyone's eyes on. Only the most confident I drill proud. It's kind of leisurely sitting there. Not because they are afraid of the Lord. Hongfu and Van looked at the cold voice. The story of Dance, Long and Pharmacy King. When is it your turn to get in? Most likely, one side points to Don provocation. Hongfu and Van frowned. Lao Tzu is the son-in-law of Ho Long. If there is no dignity, comment on the long dance. You have no fucking right to be here. The word just ended. Hongfu and Van was angry to release the gas. 1. Straight to the nearest human sitting there. The chief hit down. But the worst of all is not afraid. He knew someone would save him. It's not wrong. When a chief of the Hongfu and Van, it hasn't hit down yet. A white silk rope suddenly appeared. Take one of his leaders. Hongfu and Van gave cold eyes. Look at the city. The cold says, what do you mean? You want to openly violate the Sao Covenant. To be aggressive, biting his lips, coldly speaking. Ngok said no, wrong. The two men have judged. So it's the turn of the elders who are here to testify. You're not going to break your word. Hongfu and Van looked at the city's predisposition. In my eyes for a long time. I was angry for an hour. Then let the elders bear witness. Whether the Lord's words are true or not. Just finished the words Hongfu and Van release force. The white silk band on the hand of the ministry. It's immediately loosened. The Tone's eyes swept towards the spot. Everyone says, tell me again. The judge is right or wrong. For a moment, everyone was silently calculating. Shaking your head constantly while looking towards the most solid. Now it's good. Now push back to the top 7. The two sides of the power should Theo quit AI is already clear. 5 elders thought for a moment. The leader stood up and laughed. The judgment of the 2 princes with the 2 houses is extremely fair. I have no opinion. Seriously, 2, nod your head, towards Hongfu and Van smiling. The 5 elders were indeed timely. The 2 old men are not disgruntled. At the same time, he looked at the old man. Bite one tooth. Then look at the royal palace. Embracing the right to speak. Do people judge fairly? Lamu mind uniform. There is absolutely no dissatisfaction. Hear this word. Hongfu and Van pleased to nod. The owner is angry and wants to explode. In my eyes, flares of anger. In 7 countries right now. There were 3 forces. Support the arbitration of Hongfu and Van. Except for the Emperor and Ho Long. There are only 2 forces left. If only one more house would agree. The dance will soon be weak. Hongfu and Van is still happy right now. That no one would dare to sin against the Emperor. I glanced a little towards the end. Hongfu and Van revealed a pleasant smile. I just looked at Long 9. 9 elders of the dragon. Come and show your attitude. Long 9 thought for a moment. Looking back at the city, he shook his head and said to